My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons. I am Darren Hupke, the host of the show. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and checking out another episode. Hopefully this is another entertaining one for you, and I appreciate you for coming back week after week. If you are new, it's a simple pitch. I sit down with a guest each week and I ask them a video game related prompt or question, and we talk about it. It's 20 to 40 minutes or so each episode. This can stem from topics like what's a underappreciated or below average game you love that doesn't get enough attention, or what is your history with video games? When did you start playing and when did you fall in love with them? Or why do you play the games that you play? It could be a lot of different things. The conversations can go in a lot of different directions, but the point is just to have a great and thoughtful conversation that maybe sparks your own ideas or your own interests as a listener to think about your own responses, and hopefully just have some fun along the way. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, I've got a few different ways you can do that. I have links in the show notes below to everything that I do, and I'll highlight one of those in particular. Pixels and Polygons Quarterly is, as you guessed it, a quarterly magazine about retro video games. It evolved from my retro gamezine project. Instead of covering a single game in a month, it is now a quarterly release where I cover a few different games in each issue. There's an overarching theme with every issue, and I'll have an original essay that ties all of the games together. But in addition to that, you'll have individual game histories and development details, personal experiences from all the different writing contributors, scans of magazines, manuals, artwork, even of the era, like reviews, a lot of details and artifacts if you are a fan of those games or a fan of the games in that era. The goal is to highlight and cover games that maybe aren't the AAA top 10 of all time type games, but games that deserve some attention and maybe forgotten and maybe a whole new generation should discover and enjoy. So hopefully you enjoy what you read. Quarterly release, you can find them on pixelsandpolygons.net in a physical format, or you can find them over on my Patreon in my digital store. A few different options for you, so check those out. Links in the show notes below. With that out of the way, we can start the episode right after an ad from one of our Soundstone Network partners.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome, everyone, to Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I am Darren Hupke, and this week I am back with returning guest, Emily from No Small Games. Hello, Emily.
Hi, Darren. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Feels like a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm always curious how people respond to that, whether they play into this obviously being weeks, quote unquote, weeks later, but it's just minutes later after the last episode. But yeah, long time no see. It's been a while. On the last episode you were on, we talked about how you play your games. If anybody hasn't listened to that episode, you can go back and listen to that one. You hear a lot more of Emily and about the podcast No Small Games that she's a co-host of, and so you can kind of get more there. But I'd love to maybe hear about What are some things you mentioned your backlog on the last episode? But what are some games that are like creeping at the top of that backlog that you're ready to play soon, but they're still there unplayed on your list? Anything you want to highlight there?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. It's actually, God, it's such a problem. Let me see. What is like some stuff that's really begging to be launched right now? There is one. This will kind of actually tie into the game that I want to talk about today. There's this new game came out a couple months ago. It's called Berry Berry Berry. And it is this bizarre, surrealist, kind of retro inspired, almost like psychedelic game where you just like appear in a room and there's a plant that starts kind of popping berries out, and there's a hole on the other side of the room in the floor, and you put berries in the hole and you get money back. And there's like a little day-night feature to it. And there's this extremely creepy man with a star for a head who tells you have to do this. You have to put the berries in the hole. And it is just so bizarre and unsettling, but kind of cute at the same time. And it's one of those things where you're like, there's something going on underneath the surface and you don't know what, and you don't know why you're doing this. And you feel like you're going crazy while you're playing it. And I just love that. I find it so fascinating. I played the demo a couple of months ago and immediately just like put it down. Idiot sicko for this game. And I just got it in the Steam sale finally. And it's like staring holes in the side of my head, staring at me from my Steam library right now.
That's fine. I have seen this. Yes. Now that I'm seeing, like, I just pulled up a little video for it, or the Steam page for it. I have seen somebody posting about like videos about this or something like that. But that's wild. Okay, that's cool.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited.
It is currently Windows only there. I am the odd Apple user, so I'll be waiting for a different release, it looks like. The other Google search... That
used to be me. That was me for a long time.
Yeah, the other Google search that arrived was a link to the App Store version of the game, so I clicked on that. But it is also no longer listed on the App Store or Apple Arcade, so it's been delisted there. So they really don't want me playing this game unless it comes out on a console release or something. But okay, that's fun. Berry, and so also Googling, it's berry as in like the fruit, but then berry as in bury your dead body, and then berry again the fruit. So everyone's familiar with burying dead bodies, so it's just a very applicable thing.
You know how you do. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you have to bury a dead body in the game.
Yeah.
Very, very possible.
Fun. Okay. Well, are you ready for an icebreaker?
I am indeed.
Okay. I'm going to hit you with this one. This one's probably the hardest icebreaker, I think. It's two-part icebreaker. Two-part icebreaker. So let me ask you the first question, and you just be normal and casual about this. Totally fine. But what is one of your favorite games? It could be a series of games. It could just be a game, a solo game or a single game. But what is one of your favorite games? That's the first question.
One of my favorite games, one that I come back to a lot recently, just mentally, is 1,000 Times Resist. One of my top 10 games of 2024. There's not a lot of gameplay to it, but it's got this incredibly impactful story, iconic characters. it's phenomenal.
Okay.
Top 50 games of all time for me.
1,000 Times Resist. Okay. Give it a new title. It can't be 1,000 Times Resist. You cannot have the 1,000 times or resist in its title, but you now have to mark it up a new title for it. Pretend we're in an alternate reality and that name just wasn't thought of, but you're in charge of making a name for this game. What do you call 1,000 Times Resist?
My first thought is Mean Girls and Aliens.
Okay. I mean, that could work.
I think it's descriptive. It's apt. Maybe too apt. Too on the nose.
No, I think that's fine. I think that works completely for it. So, I love this. I mean, it's a dumb question, but I just love trying to like stump people. I'm like, oh yeah, I love Legend of Zelda. Yeah. Then, oh, well, if I wasn't going to call it that, what do I call it? I can't like rename this iconic franchise. What do I do? But just silly. So thank you for playing along.
I love it.
But you came to the show to talk about the evergreen question I feel that I have for the podcast. It is my favorite question to ask. And it's not the most like complicated or involved, but it always is just oozing like fandom and enjoyment, because it's a chance for you to tell us what is an underappreciated or average game that you love. What is about it do you enjoy, and what keeps you thinking about it? So, the floor is yours. Tell us what one of those games for you is, Emily.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So today I feel like I'm doing show and tell at school. Today I've brought another 2024 game. I feel like I'm not shutting up about this year, but it was just it was a phenomenal year in games. This game is called Grunn. And it's by Tom. Oh shoot. He's got a Dutch name and I struggle to pronounce it. It's also published by Sock Pop Collective, which is a really fascinating little like collective of developers and publishers. But Grunn is, they call it a completely normal gardening game. And I won't immediately spoil the vibe of this game, but essentially you are tasked with being a gardener for this kind of big manor house in a small Dutch village. And you show up on the bus and everything is kind of normal about this little village. And your task, you have a little kind of outhouse hut situation to sleep in with a bed and everything. And you're given some of your tools. You have like shears to cut the grass, and you just need to keep the garden looking nice at this manor for the weekend while the owner's away. Very soon you start to discover that not everything is as it seems, and there's something sinister going on. None of the villagers or people that you encounter can be understood at all. And it's not just that they're like doing the little animalese, blah, 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 blah. You can't understand them in the game. And you also start to get the sense that you're being watched. People appear through windows looking at you, and there's just something off. Over the course of time and exploration, you start to discover more and more about the sinister goings on in this little village. And I will spoil that it winds up being a time loop game where it's a little bit adjacent to Outer Wilds in that you have to play the same couple of days over and over again and understand how all of these strange people and events and, key items that you find, how they all interconnect. And there's a timing element too. So you're kind of always on the clock throughout the game, and you have to sort of optimize your run and figure out, well, how do I cut all the grass? How do I do all this in the time I have and explore and get all of the items I need to ultimately like fulfill my destiny in this game and solve the ultimate problem. So it's filled with mystery. It's very odd. It's very quirky. It's got the kind of PS1 style graphics and kind of a CRT filter and stuff, which gives it that extra level of like being a little surreal at the same time that it's kind of cozy too.
That sounds really cool. And like the time loop aspect of it is really, really cool. I'm reading about it here. It has 11 possible endings as well. And how many of those have you personally seen on your playthroughs at all? Do you know? Do you remember?
I think I've unlocked 10 of them. Oh, wow. I'm missing one. And most are types of deaths. Not to spoil too much, but a lot of them are quote unquote bad endings.
Yeah, that sounds really neat. This is a game 100%. Never heard of this at all. I feel like I read about games. I feel like I'm in conversations about games. I am much to do about video games. And this is one that completely was off my radar. And Again, being a Windows platform release, I'm not sure where I'm going to have access to play this here. But this sounds like really cool. The like the weird like vibes you get from it. I mean, like, are you a fan of like David Lynch things like Mulholland Drive or Blue Velvet stuff? Is that like at all in your wheelhouse? Personally?
Yeah, it does have kind of like a Twin Peaks vibe almost, where everyone's a little odd, but doesn't seem to recognize how odd they are. And it really encourages the exploration, which I think is the best thing to me about this game. Is it's like, it's not really hard, it's not super challenging, but you have to be really curious about what you're looking at. And every like little odd thing, ask yourself like, what is going on? How do I investigate this person more?
When you first played it, did you know about some of the twists and gimmick within it, or was it like just discovery for you as you played it?
It was a total discovery. I played the demo. It had a demo in Steam Next Fest back in like summer of 2024. And all I knew was it was quirky and that there was sort of a sinister, creepy element to it, even though in theory it was just a game about gardening and like just cutting grass and trimming hedges. And so I was intrigued on that basis. And then I downloaded the demo, became completely obsessed with it for about 2 days. And me and my friend, who is now my partner, he and I basically like got on a Discord call and like both were playing it and kind of comparing notes, writing down notes, and like, I just tried this. Oh, did you find that? I think the demo had 4 or 5 different endings. And so we spent like 2 days just mainlining this game and trying to figure out what was going on here. How does everything connect? Oh, I found this weird little like statue thing here. And oh, what is that? Are the gnomes following you? So many weird little moments. And it was great to have somebody like doing this alongside me too, and as obsessed with it as I was. And I feel like that translated into the full release too, where I've gotten to watch a lot of my friends play it on Twitch or on Discord. And it's so fun to see how every different person approaches the game differently and like discovers things at different times and in different ways. It's a game that anybody can play and you're going to get something different out of it.
That's cool. Do you feel you've played a game like that's been similar to this either before or since that has kind of surprised you in that way? I mean, is that like the exciting and the interest is the fact that, you know, you just didn't know what was next or what to expect, and that kind of kept you on your toes? Like that was the driving like entertainment factor for you?
I think so. Yeah. And I'd never quite seen a game with this exact aesthetic. This like, it is so cute and kind of quirky on its face, but absolutely jump scared me a couple of times. Like there are moments that I would call like light horror in the game. And I really don't think that I've ever played anything quite like this before. This is definitely a game that I wish I could play for the first time again, because I've never quite run across something with this special recipe of intrigue and just oddity. Everything's very odd. I think David Lynch is a good analog here, a good comparison.
It's good. I mean, I'm a big Lynch fan. I would like to, give this a try. The jump scare spot is kind of not getting me as excited though. Like I could play horror games growing up. I could play, like even into like, Dead Space and like, those types of things. Like I was all into that. I even beat Dead Space with just the plasma cutter, like making an extra challenge out of that and everything. That was an achievement to do that or something like that. But there was something around then that it wasn't much later after that like horror games or games that with that weird like underlying tension, like I just could not like attach to anymore. I wasn't getting any entertainment from them anymore. It was just the anxiety. And I realized like, wait a minute, like, well, hold on, I'm playing this for entertainment. So if I'm not feeling fun here, why do I want to feel like this terror or this, like, I don't want to see this happen right now. So even if it's like, in a silly art style or in a like a surrealistic way, or just like a like in an art style like this game has, still, like the edge of getting kind of creeped out, like would probably be, I'd be curious to see. I want to watch maybe like a trailer or like somebody playing like a let's play of it for a little bit, and I'll see, how I feel about that. But you talk about taking notes and kind of involving others kind of like with that and everything. That reminded me so much of last year. Like I got caught up in the blueprints like craze, and I had a notebook and everything with that to like help me with like puzzles and comparing notes on the internet and everything like that and all like that. That to me, like that, I was worried that there would be something very creepy and sinister behind like, certain doors at certain points for that. But then once I figured out that loop, it was like, yes, it's a I don't want to say disturbing, but there is like things below the surface there, but nothing gets quite to like, a horror level or horror adjacent within that game. So I was able to kind of see that through pretty significantly, but that was one that caught my attention. And so hearing the time loop of this, it makes me, kind of think a little bit of like that, about kind of like playing and repeating and kind of trying to see more or do something different or see something through to help ensure that you're unlocking more clues or unlocking more things along the way. But it sounds rad.
Yeah, I would say anybody who's a fan of blueprints would really find Grunn compelling, because I think they share a lot of that, obviously completely different mechanics, but they share a lot of that same experience of like you go in really not knowing what you're going to find at all and what to expect. So there's just constant discovery and that feeling when you do finally connect. Oh, this thing happens at this time and it's connected to this other, thing that I was trying to figure out. And that like unlock is such a magical, awesome moment. And I think Grunn does that same thing where it like, I think it's approachable to almost anybody, but it makes you feel so smart when you finally figure it out.
The outer wilds of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played other games from the developer, the Sock Pop Collective here? Like, looks like they have a lot of credits to their
game. They have a ton of different games from different devs. So one of my favorites of theirs is Stacklands, which is a completely different style of gameplay. It's more of like a city builder / survival game. Very addictive. I had a great time with it. But Tom, I'm going to pull up his name so I can actually say it. Tom Vanden Bogart, I think, is currently working on a new game. I don't remember if it has a release date called, it's called Burnband or Burnband. And it's got a really similar art style to Grunn. But it sounds like it's going to be more of just an exploration game, set in like a sci-fi universe. I would not be surprised if there were also like a lot of mysteries beneath the surface, but I don't know if it's going to be a similar gameplay style to Grunn.
This is neat. Yeah, this says that Burnband is a remake revealed. Apparently it was a 2014 game by him, which is kind of cool, but Mac OS platform. So this is access. I have access to this one. I can play this one. This is the game I can play. Finally. That's fun. I need to look into this. This is cool. I feel like I need to just it's been in the back of my head, like it doesn't have to be a Steam Deck, but I think I need to get one of those like little dedicated, like not overly tuned, like handheld PC type of thing, just to have access to like a lot of these things that like I'm clearly missing out on by being, in the environment that I'm in and everything. Because these are the kind of games that like I loved for so long. And I think I was really excited as a PlayStation owner for like the PS3 and PS4. Like Sony heavily invested in indie games and creating great partnerships there and having like a lot of access on their storefront. And then I feel like Nintendo came in with the Switch and took a lot of like success from that and went even further. Like so many indie games coming to Switch and everything. And I don't know if Sony just had different policies or different plans, but like, there definitely aren't as like pronounced to having so many of these, like, small, I don't almost call them smaller games. They're no small games. These different gaming experiences, like on their platforms and stuff. So I need to figure it out. I need to, stop being Peter Pan and maybe just get a different platform and try a little Steam Deck or something like that where I can have access to some of these things. But these sound fun. Grunn seems like one I would play. Grunn. Yeah, that sounds like one I would play. Play until I can't play it. Play it until a gnome is staring at me behind a window that wasn't there when I turned around and suddenly see it and like, yep, okay, cool. This is fun while it lasted. Yeah. Good thing I only spent $6 on it. That's a waste to me. I'm out of here. Bye. Fun. Well, that's the thing. We did the thing. Any final thoughts then on Grunn? Did somebody? I mean, you mentioned you played the demo, but did somebody just like immediately flag you down, thinking, "Oh my gosh, you're going to love this. Here you go," or were you just perusing at your own whim and stumbled upon it? Like, who do you have to thank for the Grunn exposure?
I want to say that Jenny Wyndham of Wholesome Games, Geeks and Grounds, the Indie Council, I know she was really excited about it. And I think I was seeing her post about it on social media at the time. And I'd seen it in maybe a showcase or something. It was in the zeitgeist a little bit at the time. So it was one of those ones that I was like, okay, I have to see this. I have to see what's going on here.
Fun. Okay, well, there you go. Well, check it out. Those of you who have access to these very hard to find, rare Windows based gaming devices, they're not that common out there. But if you have access to one of them, give this a shot. Seek this one out. But Emily, thank you again for coming on to the show. Like I said, I love having new people, and these two episodes back to back were fun conversations. So thank you so much for doing that. Anything you want to plug or share, anything to look forward to, like on the show or in the future that people should pay attention to?
Yeah, thank you again, Darren. This was so much fun. I had a great time. Folks can go to nosmallgames.com to check out all of our recent articles, reviews, episodes of the podcast. Keep an eye out for our spring season episodes. We've got awesome guests like Adam Gumber and JK Games and the Date With Us podcast crew. Obviously talking about lots of really cool games. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Okay. Well, I will have the links to all those in the show notes below. But again, thank you for coming on the show. I have more questions I ask. So if you ever want to revisit some of those other questions and come back on in the future, you let me know, Emily. You've got an open invite here. I love having all different thoughts and opinions. And I'm sure you've got a whole list of underappreciated games you can probably share, like this one, in the future too. So
do I? Oh yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, and everybody, thank you for listening. If you made it this far in the episode, hopefully it means I did something good, and you had a fun listen to this conversation between Emily and I. Maybe leave a review on the podcast platform you're listening to this on. I never do this. I never remind people to like review or rate or do things, and I've been trying to do that more. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up or a star or whatever it is that you're using that has a rating scale on there, but that would be much appreciated. Otherwise, we'll catch you again next week with another new episode. Thank you for listening. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby along with adjacent subjects like Smash Brothers, HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth look at a new Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience with the series. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a writer and podcaster with a background in video game and theater journalism.
And I'm Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Kirby and a big Kirby fan from Brazil. I translate Kirby interviews from Japanese to English and research a bunch of obscure Kirby media.
And I'm Bridget, a longtime fan, commentator, fan artist, and Kirby collector.
Join us for a mix of commentary and original reporting, deep dives into Kirby history, interviews with industry professionals, and more, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. We're a proud part of the Soundstone Podcast Network, and you can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.